online as well. We are just waiting for the presentation from the South African Police Services. There's been slight amendments to the one that we were sent earlier this morning. But what we will do is we will start just with getting the housekeeping out of the way and the introductions. And as soon as we have that presentation, we will move into that. A very warm welcome to everybody to the Standing Committee on Community Safety in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. My name is Gillian Bosman and I am the chairperson of this committee. And I'm very honored that we have the senior leadership of the South African Police Services with us today to address some of the critically concerning issues that we have in the Western Cape around policing. As you all know, policing is a national priority, but it is everybody's business and it is everybody's responsibility, because community safety is not a South African Police Service problem, it's a whole of society approach. We also have, for the first time in a different capacity in this committee, I don't want to call him new anymore because he's no longer new, but the Provincial Minister for Community Safety and Police Oversight in the Western Cape, Minister Regan Allen. This is his first visit to the Standing Committee sitting on the right-hand side of the House, because before that he used to sit where I'm sitting, because he was the chairperson of the Standing Committee. So this is his first visit accounting to this committee, and we are very excited that he's here to join us as well, because he understands many of the challenges that this committee has faced when we visited police stations across the province. And whether that's police stations we visited in Elands Bay, in the Cederberg, whether it's police stations we visited in KwaNotakula, in the Bito municipality, or whether it is the Kleinvlei police station in the metro. So the chair welcomes you, my former chair and my current minister, and a very warm welcome to the National Commissioner General Masemola and your team for joining us. So what we're going to do as normal, we're going to ask the members in the chambers to introduce themselves first. And then we are also then going to ask the members online to introduce themselves. And we'll start with the member in the front.
Good morning, Member Christopher Fry, member of this committee.
Good morning, Chair, and the Provincial Minister and the SAPS leadership, Ms. Suli Kama. I'm standing in, Chair, for Member Barnes this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will note that Member Kama is alternating for Member Barnes, but Member Kama is a resident of this committee. I don't know why he's standing in when he's a member of this committee. I can't see that far because I'm not wearing glasses, but can we ask, are there any members online if they could just introduce themselves?
Good morning, Chairperson. Ferdinand Christians.
A very warm welcome to Member Christians. I'm now then going to ask that the MEC introduces himself, and then we'll go along the line, the MEC, then the National Commissioner, and then we'll come around over there as well.
Chairperson, thank you so much. I do feel at home in this particular committee, so thank you for that warm welcome. In my way, walking into the chamber, seeing the National Commissioner, knowing that there is continued relationships, working relationships towards creating safer communities, I am delighted to be here, and I want to also officially welcome Member Ayanda Barnes as the permanent member on this particular committee. We have seen Member Kama, Member Christians, Member Malikaya, together with Member Lorraine Botha, and you, Chairperson, serving diligently as a multi-party committee towards creating safer communities. I am delighted to be here. I am joined by the HOD who is online, but in the ministry, we also have Mr. Marcelino Martin as well as Ms. Kelly Beloy.
Much, and a very warm welcome to the team from the Ministry as well as the HOD Advocate Yashina Pillay. I'll now hand over to the Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Honorable Chairperson and members of honorable members of this committee. I'm General Masemula, National Commissioner of South African Police Service. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, honorable members. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I am Lieutenant General Dinewansia. I'm the Acting Deputy National Commissioner for Support Services. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. I'm Lieutenant General Fani. I'm responsible for supply chain management, South African Police Services.
Good morning, Chairperson and all the members of the House. I'm Major General Setole, the Head of Facility Management in the SAPS. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, honourable members. Colonel Stein, Parliamentary Liaison, South African Police Service.
Good morning, Chair, honourable members. Major General Lesese from Legal Services.
Good morning, Chair and honourable members. I'm Brigadier van Rooyen, attached to Legal Services.
I'm going to ask that the staff from DOCS also introduce themselves, because I know this is Ms. Baloy's first meeting as well. But before we go there, I saw the Commissioner's hand. Commissioner, did I see your hand?
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I must just advance apology for the Provincial Commissioner of Western Cape, Lieutenant General Pategile. He is on vacation leave. There is the Acting Provincial Commissioner, Major General Makashalala. He is with us here. He just went out. He will be soon back. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Ms. Kelly Baloy, I'm the Community Outreach Officer in the Ministry.
Also here in a new capacity, I understand.
Thank you, Chairperson. Marcelino Martin, Minister's Media Officer.
Perfect. And then the Minister mentioned that the HOD is online. Advocate Pillay, if we could also just ask you to introduce yourselves so that we can see your face, because we haven't seen each other since COVID, I think.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Good morning to yourself and members. Advocate Pillay, Head of Department for Community Safety, and I could quickly indicate, Chairperson, I'm joined by the Chief Director, Lindy Govender, our Chief Director, Management Support, Director Amanda Distel, our Director, Policy and Research, Director Fred Watkins from Provincial Security Provisioning Services as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, HOD. While the colleagues from the Provincial Office takes their seat, I also want to ask, today I'm very fortunate, I've got two students from Rhodes High School job shadowing me today. So I'm going to ask that they just switch their microphones on and introduce themselves and perhaps tell us which grade you are in and what you are doing here, why you are here.
Hello, I'm William. I'm in grade 9. I'm interested in becoming the president one day.
Hello, my name is Karawudi Kutla and I attend Rhodes High School. I am here to see how you guys do your work and learn about how things go in the parliament, how things work. Thank you.
Perfect. They've had their very first experience of bureaucracy yesterday when they spent the whole day at Home Affairs and they came out with nothing. So I'm hoping that they learn. We had some colleagues from the Western Cape Provincial Police Office walk in. If I could just ask that they introduce themselves as well. I see one familiar face.
Good day, Minister. It's General Foskel, the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for Support Services. Thank you.
Good day, Mr. Minister. It's Brigadier de Tooy, Provincial Aid Supply Chain Management, Western Cape.
Good day, Minister. General Makasalala. I'm the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Crime Detection. I'm also acting for the Provincial Commissioner currently. Thank you.
Good morning, Minister. Brigadier Potelwa, Corporate Communications. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad you're introducing yourselves to the Minister, but he's sitting over there. I'm just the chair. Member Kama is the next Minister, so I'm just moderating the discussion today.
Good day, Minister. I'm Brigadier KY Mawela, the Provincial Head for OD and Strategic Management.
Thank you very much. We're going to jump right into the meat of the presentation. The first part of what we've asked the South African Police Service, and maybe I'll just give some background. As I said earlier, we've spent since 2019 going around the province as part of our cluster visits as members of parliament from the Standing Committee on Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sports, Premier and Constitutional Affairs, Education, Social Development and Health. We've gone as a cluster to look at service delivery in different towns and in different districts in the Western Cape. And every time we go into a community, we engage with the South African Police Service by looking at the police station, trying to get an understanding of what are the types of innovations, what are the types of problems. And we've identified the maintenance of police stations, and in some cases, in the 4 cases that we've highlighted to you, where there's an absolute sort of, what's the word? You can't call it a police station. These are dysfunctional spaces. I don't think SAPS members enjoy working in there. And we heard earlier this week at a public meeting in the Kleinvlei community that the community members feel that it's not a place that they can even go to for support because the police station is so inadequate. So we've asked you to come and brief us on the maintenance and upgrades of police stations. And what we're really hoping to understand is what are the plans for these 4 police stations, if there are any, and also what is the process of maintaining a police station, because when we visit police stations, we ask questions and we are told, no, we are waiting on the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. And then when we engage with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, they say, it is not our job to maintain, that's within the station budget. And in some cases, there's workmanship that is so poor that if we look at the Neisner, the Plettenberg Bay Police Station, for instance, it was built in 2013, but they don't have functioning toilets in the detention facilities. So we wanted to understand that. So that's the first part of the presentation. We then also amended our letter asking whether the Commissioner could give us an update on something that has gripped our province in the last few weeks quite extensively. And it's looking at the capacity within SAPS to conduct investigations and the capacity for investigations to actually lead to convictions, specifically around the murdering of children. We've had, last week we had 4 children murdered, and before that we had a total of 27 children, I think, for just this quarter. And it's an evil that grips our society, and very often it's an evil that becomes the responsibility of SAPS to solve. And we want to understand whether there is a plan to build capacity to deal with that. And then also the issue around extortion and kidnapping in the Western Cape that has spiked. So we've sort of asked that if you just lump that into talking generally about investigative capacity as well, if you'll indulge us to ask a few questions around that. So I'm going to hand straight over to the Commissioner and his team. Wasim, I think you're operating the slides, and then you can go. So what we'll do, Commissioner, we will give you the opportunity to present. Then I will ask if the MEC has any input. And then we'll do a joint question and answer sessions to both you and the MEC, because we know there's some collaborations within the provincial department and SAPS. So if there's any questions for the MEC as well, members, we can lump that into that one session if that's in order with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members and MEC. Yeah, with regard to the directive or the request that you sent to SAPS, we are going to give a presentation on the whole issue of capital works as well as the maintenance projects that we have in the various levels where we do have these projects. And on the last part of your speech that you spoke about the issue around murdering of children, that part we never received it, but however, if one would like maybe to respond on that one, is that with regard to the crimes against women and children, we do have a capacity called the unit FCS, Family Violence and Child Protection Services, which investigate this type of offenses. And it is one unit that actually have got the most successful convictions in the country, countrywide. And of course, the current wave, as you indicated, will be, of course, we'll focus on it. At some point, I'll ask the acting provincial commissioner to respond on that. On the wave of kidnapping, yes, kidnapping has gripped the country at large. Of late, kidnapping for ransom, and we seems to be have been getting it right. Looks like up country, and it's only here in Western Cape that it is still problematic, but we are applying the same strategies that we applied up country. We are now implementing here, of having integrated teams, both national and province, as well as all other law enforcement agencies in the province, including the city of Cape Town. So we are approaching it in that fashion with a view to win it, so that the same results we achieved up country we can also achieve it here, and make sure that we arrest those people. Yesterday I was engaging with the team in the province, and they were updating me in terms of what they are doing with regard to kidnappings. So we hope to nip it in the bud in due course. But of course, also I would, at some point, the acting provincial commissioner will respond on that. Coming back to the topic on the infrastructure, Honorable Chair, members, I'm sure you would know that as South African Police Service, we use the buildings. Some of them are devolved to the SAPS, some are non-devolved, so meaning they are still 100% maintained by the Department of Public Works. So there are limitations in that regard, and we continuously engage the department with a view to have these projects in terms of construction, in terms of also in terms of repair, so that it can we can be able to have a agreed project that is running. But yeah, there will always be there and there some problems, but we do have projects that we have with the Department of Public Works, and the police stations that you mentioned, yes, they are a priority. However, one of the inhibiting factors is there are some police stations that still belongs to municipalities, which we actually would love that such municipalities assist us in either selling us the premises or whether they give us. But that process is quite slow, and some municipalities, they undertake a process, but at some point with change of administration, the process has to start afresh, and that hampers repairs to those buildings, because it becomes a problem. It's our buildings, we're supposed to maintain them, but we can't because they don't belong to us. So that area, I would love if this committee can assist SAPS with buildings in this province that belongs to the municipalities which are housing members of South African Police Service, either we will request that you assist us. Either they sell it to us or they give us an alternative land. Getting to the presentation, let me hand over to Major General Sithole, who will take us through the various stages of the presentations and what we were doing in the province. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. General Sithole, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, General. Maybe starting from the table of contents, I just want to indicate that we just highlighted the purpose, the current status of the police stations that were specified, the current processes that we are in place towards the construction of the new police stations and the planned maintenance, our IDP program for Western Cape province. We included in the presentation the capital works and the planned maintenance projects that are executed by the Department of Public Works as we are working together. The status report on the capital works priorities for the construction of these police stations, and we covered the day-to-day maintenance. I just want to indicate that in line with the allocation of the budget, we execute construction and maintenance projects together with DPW. In terms of the non-devolved police stations, the portion is executed by DPW, and the ones that are devolved unto us, we are the ones that are responsible for the execution of the projects. The purpose is then to highlight or to provide an insight to the committee into the status of the sub-capital works priorities, including the planned maintenance priorities for execution by both SAPS and DPW. We just gave a bit of a current status of the police stations. KwaNokuthula is a leased police stations. It's leased from Bito municipality, and 90% of the building or the structures within the site consist of park homes or prefabricated structures, of which flooring is decaying. We agree. The problem that we have is that we are paying 564 rand per month, which is not a market-related rate, though the contract will expire in 2028, 0831, and that's the reason why later on I'll cover what are the plans to ensure that we are moving out of this lease before or on the expiry of the lease. Kleinvlei police station is a non-devolved. It's within the mandate of DPW, and they are accommodated in a house, which is definitely insufficient, and detectives and the administration services are accommodated in park homes within the same site. Ellers Bay is a devolved police station, fully fledged. It also consists entirely of park homes and containers. The KwaNokuthula is a leased police station. It's leased from the Mossel Bay municipality. It's 2 buildings, which are brick and mortar, but all the other structures are prefabs. We are paying an amount of 5,300, which is also not market related, and the contract expires in 2024. We then related to the service level agreement and the MOA that is signed between DPW and Department of Public Works, which then highlight in terms of the mandates. The 3 levels in terms of construction or capital works is both SAPS and DPW, and then planned maintenance is both projects from DPW and SAPS that are executed, and then we have got day-to-day maintenance, which is also looking, which is the mandate of the end user of the building, which means then the provincial commissioners are the ones that are responsible for day-to-day maintenance. What happens then from the SLA, the priorities for the other construction or planned maintenance are identified by the PCs together with in consultation with the MECs in terms of which police stations are due for construction. Then it comes through to the national office where the the National User Assessment Plan, is compiled and approved by the National Commissioner and submitted to both the National Department of Public Works and National Treasury. Then we capture those that have been approved in terms of our IDP program, in line with our infrastructure planning process. The next slide reflects the IDP in terms of the 5 years and the total number of projects that are earmarked to be completed in that specific financial year, in line with the focus areas or the phases, which is site clearance, your planning and design, your execution. We included repair and upgrade, your VFFs, your accessibility for persons, and where there's only dashes, it means there's no priorities there. Then the generators, the electrical upgrades, air conditioners, and security upgrades. That in total is 30, and the plant maintenance we have 14, and in total is for the whole 5 years is 130. On the next slide is the names of the police stations. Focus area number 1 in terms of the construction of police stations, the site, those that are still at site clearance level. We finalized site clearance last year for Rondebosch. 3, which is Bella, Lingile to Strasby, are earmarked to be finalized this financial year in terms of the site clearance phase. We have Browns Farm, Satellite, and Masipumelele earmarked to be completed in the next financial year. The consultants are already in place with the town planning services. And Clubmates, Konoguchula, and Lance Bay will be finalized in 24-25. The site clearance, also the consultants have already been activated, and Beyond Yevel and Kwanangaba and Fregrond will be finalized in 25-26. The ones that are already under planning and design, where the consultants have already been appointed to come up with the tender documents and the designs and the drawings for construction of the new police stations, is for Makaza, Samora Machel, and Wellington. The bids are already under evaluation for the appointment of those consultants. Then the planning and design is expected to be finalized during 23-24 for Makaza, Samora Machel, and Wellington, and for Guguletu and Porterville is 24-25, and 25-26 is Pela, Elans Bay, Lingeletu, and Rondebosch and Strathspey. Coming to execution, we had Tafelsig, which we could have had a contract on site already. Unfortunately, the bid was advertised but had to be cancelled because of the non-responsiveness of bidders. It's back on the roll for advert again. It has been advertised. We anticipate that the evaluation will be finished before the end of financial year, and we might have the contractor on site maybe by April, before June next year, for the construction of the new police station in Tafelsig, and the one that will be completed in 25-26 is Makaza. We included the projects that were finalized during the last financial year for promotion of the accessibility for people living with disabilities at police stations, which is the 4 police stations in Western Cape that are mentioned in the first block of 21-22. Maybe I'm not going to read all the names, and then they total to 15 in the next slide, which is slide number 8. Slide number 7 is the accessibility, and then the ones that were finalized last financial year for the placement of generators at police stations in line with those that did not have, and the ones that we had to replace. But they were finalized, all of them, in terms of the payments of new generators. They were finalized, the 15 police stations were finalized during the last financial year. Then we have the police stations where we are installing air conditioners to ensure that the environment is conducive for the members. We have 43 police stations that are earmarked to be completed in the current financial year for the installation of air conditioners, which is slide number 10. Then going forward to the security upgrades at police stations, we have indicated per financial year the number of police stations that are earmarked for completion in terms of the security upgrades. The ones that are indicated in 22-23 is where contractors are already in the process of being appointed to finalize the security upgrade at these police stations before the end of financial year. Then there's the 14 up to slide number 11 on top. Then the decision by the top management was that while the national office has a mandate to execute the security upgrade projects at national level, the delegation was also given to the provinces to ensure that the process is also accelerated, and therefore money is allocated to the province for the upgrade of the security at police stations. And during the last financial year, the ones that are reflected under 21-22 are the ones that were completed during the last financial year. And during 22-23, just sorry for the mistake there, 22-23, the 29 were done or are earmarked to be completed in this current financial year. 23-24 or 29 were done during 21-22, and then 23-24 is the 22 that are earmarked to be completed. Then going to planned maintenance. Planned maintenance is the police stations that are existing that need to be maintained, and on the basis of the fact that there's the continuous process from Western Cape to lift up the faces of the police stations. 2 police stations are marked to be completed in 23-24 as planned maintenance projects that are going through tenders. That are on planning and design. The ones that are on execution is 22-23. We finalized already now Philippi Academy. We anticipate that Uniondale, Heidelberg, Philippi, Sea Point will be finalized in terms of the planned maintenance project in 24-25, and the 5, which is Claremont, Kents Bay, and Kensington and Mowbray, Parmalat, will be finalized in 25-26. The only 2 academies that were executed, the projects were executed by the internal resources, because we do have artisans within the SAPS. We have got tilers, we have got painters, we have got those, all those skills that we use normally also to maintain police stations with. In this case, they were focusing on the academies, which is the 2, Philippi and Osore. Moving forward to the projects that are executed, like I indicated, that the non-devolved police stations projects are executed by NDPW. And we have got 81 projects that are already registered on the WCS that are either on planning and design or execution. The next slides reflect all the projects that are on planning and design, which means that status 4 means the procurement instruction has already been issued, and the consultants are already in place for them to finalize the planning and design. So I'm not going to read the scope of works as indicated, but they are all reflected in terms of the total number of 81 in slide number 14. All these projects are either addressing the condition of the police station, the security related, whether it's water, generators, all the necessities to ensure that the police stations are also compliant with OHS. So it's slide number 14, it's slide number 15, it's all the projects. Slide number 16, all the projects that have been registered already. Slide number 17, the continuation of all the projects that have been registered. Slide number 18, the same, is a continuation. Slide number 19 is all the projects that have been registered. Slide number 20, slide number 21, without maybe going on them one by one and reading the scope of work and the names. Slide number 22, and lastly, on the capital works, we have got up to slide number 23. That is the 81 that have been registered for capital works. Then we do have on slide number 24 the planned maintenance projects that have been registered. Status 3 is the pre-design. stage. We have got 3 of them, which is Caledon and Ceres and Worcester, and we have got 4 of them that are at planning and design, which is the 4, and only 2, which is Cape Town and Parow, are already at 5B, which is construction. Then going to slide number 25, which talks to KwaNokuthula, which is I indicated earlier that it's a leased police station from Bito municipality. The project for the construction of a new police station was prioritized by the Provincial Commissioner. That was finalized. The municipality indicated that there's a vacant land next to KwaNokuthula that can be used by the SAPS to construct a police station. The site clearance, the site identification and site clearance process was already activated for the appointment of consultants during the current financial year for the execution of the site clearance phase by the SAPS, as this is a newly re-established project. If it's a newly re-established in a new site, then SAPS takes over. It becomes a devolved project. And therefore, we anticipate that the site clearance should be finished by 2025 or 2031. The planning and design will take us a year, should be finished by 2026. And as soon as the site clearance is done, we will be going at the same time into planning and design for us to ensure that the planning design is done as soon as the site clearance is completed. Then at the time that we finalize the planning and design, will then procure the services of a contractor to do the construction of the police station, which we anticipate it will take 2 years, and it will be up to 2028 or 2021. Then the KwaNokuthula police station will then be standing. There's the first one. The picture there is just a picture of the police station and the adjacent site that has been promised by the municipality. Then, with regard to Kleinvlei is a non-devolved, though it has been prioritized by the Provincial Commission as number 1. I think it's in terms of the problems that or the challenges that experienced there. As priority number 1, that has been done. The PDIR or the pre-design information request was issued to DPW because the town planning services or the site clearance process must be undertaken by DPW. That was done already and finalized in 2020. They indicated then that the process that they followed led them to the issuing of a site report, which was received in terms of the different sites that are available, and for us to indicate which site do we prefer. Unfortunately, the technical studies that they've conducted indicated or revealed that they need to do further evaluation. The identified site that has been chosen need to be acquired from the Western Cape Provincial Government. They indicated that they've already issued the report, land identification report to the office, so that then they can then indicate whether they are donating or releasing the land. So the estimated completion date of the site clearance is 2025 from DPW, the information that they provided unto us. Then the planning and design will then be undertaken by the SAPS as soon as the site clearance is finalized, because it's a new site that has been identified. Then the SAPS will take over the planning and design for us to execute the police station, which will also take 2 years, and then we anticipate that it will also be finalized in 2028. The Ellers Bay is a devolved police station that was also prioritized. All these ones, the projects were already activated some time ago. The studies were undertaken by our office to identify the site, suitable site. But unfortunately, the one that was initially identified was not supported by the council, as the site was not within the municipal special framework. The new site has now been identified or donated by the Centerbank municipality, which they indicated that site is closer to the community. The site clearance process has already been reactivated for a new site now that has been donated for completion also June 25-26, 2025-0331. The project for the planning and design will then be registered as soon as the site clearance certificate is issued for it to take a year, and 2026 we anticipate that the position will also be, the planning design will be completed for us then to also acquire the services of the contractor to build the police station. Kwanongaba is a list building. It's also part of the priorities of the Provincial Commissioner. The municipality offered a centrally located vacant land at F196 for a construction of the police station. There's the one that is listed from Mossel Bay municipality. The site identification and site clearance process will be activated in the current financial year. Has not been, the PI has not been issued yet for SCPS to do, and we are anticipating that we'll be able to finish the site clearance also in 2025 or 2031. The planning design will then be activated so that then we can then get the tenant documents for us to go out on tender to acquire the services of the contractor. We just reflected the Kwanongaba police station there and the adjacent land that has been made available by the municipality. Critically to mention, Chairperson, is that for day-to-day maintenance in terms of broken doors, broken windows, painting, all those smaller things that can be done, the National Department of Public Works authorized that the offices, accounting offices, provincial offices can go up to a threshold of 100,000. With the acting DG that is at DPW now, they've already increased the threshold to 1 million. The only thing that is outstanding, we've already made our submissions in terms of our inputs on all the smaller minor works that should be aligned to the amount. Not the amount, not to only accommodate emergencies, but also minor works in terms of painting, changing of carpets, and all those other things that can actually lift the face of the police station. We were supposed to have a meeting with them last week. Unfortunately, we could not, but that was for a finalization of the document with regard to the inclusion of the minor works in the policy. One other thing that I indicated earlier was that the security upgrades projects are also undertaken by the province, and the province has already completed 29 during the last financial year. And this includes CCTV cameras for us to be able to have information if something happens at the police station, the electronic gates for vehicles and security gates, and the access control systems and fencing. And for the current financial year, money has also been allocated where the security upgrades at police stations is prioritized. The one other thing that has been implemented from the Department of Public Works in order to help the SCPS to come up with, just changing the condition of the police stations. The projects for painting police stations has been activated, and the province is working together with the provincial office, the regional office of DPW to execute these projects, and all the other resources in terms of furniture and other things. They've made funds available also to ensure that the police stations are resourced. The last concluding remarks, Chairperson, is that the issue of the ERF, because they indicated that they are still waiting for the response, the issue of the ERF 952 for Clenfley police station, the availing thereof by the Western Cape Provincial Government to the Department of Public Works for them to undertake the site clearance. And we are engaging with DPW that as soon as that is done, they will then accelerate the process of the site clearance phase for the Clearfield police station. And just maybe finally for the committee just to take note of the plans that we have for the construction of these police stations and the maintenance thereof and the milestones for each police station. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The Commissioner indicated earlier that colleagues from the Provincial Office will also be making input. Do I understand that?
Thanks, Honourable Chair. PC, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, MEC, National Commissioner. With regard to the capacity to investigate children-related cases, it is imperative to indicate that we have got 26 FCS units within the province. FCS is a specialized environment. We don't have them in each and every police station. However, the units sufficiently cover the activities within those within our police precincts. The 26th one it's called serial and electronic crime investigation, which is normally referred to by the people as a serial killer investigation. So when we have got such, then they go to any district of the police and investigate whether serious raping or serious killing. Also, we have got the support structure, the forensic social workers. We have got 18 in the province because we deal with kids and which affects to a great extent the psychological part, and also they testify in court. Additionally to that, we have advertised 10 posts for forensic social workers. So we believe that that is going to add so much to our capacity. With regard to the 4 kids that the chairperson has referred to, there were 2 kids that were killed in Albertinia. I think it's 9 and 10 of ages, subject to correction. Arrest was effected in respect of that. And the other one would be the one of Pal, a 4-year-old child. And also arrest was effected in respect of that child. Then there is one that was picked up in Philippi. I think he's 8 years old. The arrest has not been effected on it. However, the investigation is continuing. So with respect to the 3, arrest was effected by the FCS units. Coming to the kidnapping and extortion, the province has got the integrated kidnapping task team, which is composed of various stakeholders, one being SAPS, with its all environment, that is the visible site, crime intelligence, which provides the intelligence capacity, also assisted by SSA, and we've got detectives, and also the DPCI. It's a joint venture, and also we've got NPA and a dedicated prosecutor from NPA. On regular basis, the National Commissioner provides the National Kidnapping Task Team, which assists all the provinces. So we have got we are benefiting also from that. Also, we cooperate with any legal structure. We have just also had discussions with the city. We have got a follow-up meeting that is coming. So. Also, we have got a weekly meeting or extortion priority committee. Of course, it's not an operational kind of a forum. However, all the departments, they attend this meeting. It sits weekly. The last incident that we have that relates to the kidnapping took place on the 29th of September. It is under investigation with all the by all the capacities that I have indicated, including the national expertise. That is all that I can say so far, unless there's something that I need to add. Thank you.
Are you happy with that contribution, Commissioner?
It's Honourable Chair.
Perfect. So then we will move on from SAPS, and thank you very much for that overview. I found the detail in the presentation very helpful in being able to understand the processes, because we don't always understand the internal processes. Minister Allen, I'm now going to ask if you want to make any comments on that. I know you also have a presentation which is on our list for later, but I wanted to ask if you just wanted to respond specifically to those items, specifically focusing on what the Department of Community Safety is doing as well.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I do want to welcome the presentation. I do know in terms of what we have done in community safety, and Chairperson, I want to place on record that despite letters written to the National Minister of Public Works, which was not responded to, the policing needs and priorities have highlighted some of the issues that you have raised in your opening remarks, but also what we have found in our policing needs and priorities here in the province. Further, it is quite sad that even on a MINMEC item, Public Works was not present in order to present on matters pertaining to the issues that were highlighted. Hence, I appreciate the South African Police Service in providing this particular update, but we obviously need Public Works to play their role, and the National Minister should duly be held accountable in that regard as well. But I do want to stress that I will continue to follow up. We will continue to engage the National Minister of Public Works as well in this regard, because it's ultimately in the interest of adopting a intergovernmental approach. So I will reserve my comment further in that regard. But I also want to say thank you to the National Minister, the National Commissioner, in the engagement with the City of Cape Town. And this week, when I met with the acting Police Commissioner in the Western Cape, we do know, and I can echo the sentiment, that a follow-up meeting is scheduled for the city again with regard to the operational and the joint operational endeavors. But we are also looking at, Commissioner, how we are even able to expand into our districts, because we wouldn't want, obviously considering the constraints, but to find mechanisms and ways to ensure that it can even be escalated or scaled up to our districts, so that the type of crime that we have seen highlighted here, kidnappings, extortion, is not shifted into other areas. I think those are some of the comments that I would have wanted to make at this point.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's good to see that your training as a chairperson has come in handy. You keep it short and sweet. Normally, ministers go on for minutes and minutes and minutes. Members, I'm now going to open it up for questions. You know the drill. If you've got a question online, please use the raise your hand function on Microsoft Teams. If I can then get an indication for the colleagues in the House, if they also have questions. I see one hand online before I saw Member Fry, and then I see Member Kama. I can't see this far who that is. There's a hand up online. If you could just identify yourself.
Chairperson, Member Christians.
Please go ahead, Member Christians.
Yes, Chair, I want to agree with you. I think it was quite a comprehensive overview on how things happen. And I was delighted to see that there's progress in the police stations that we highlighted. Just a question is the Kleinvlei, and we can talk about all the police stations, the Ellensburg and all of that. And I now know there's amounts available to the province, but visiting these police stations, it's hard so to see that I went to the one little prefect office where one of the colonels was sitting, and it's disheartening to see that although there's plans in place, but reality says otherwise. When you visit these police stations, I went through also on my own because some of the people asked me to come because people stand in the queue outside being attended to. And if it rains, people must stand outside. And I must tell you, Commissioner, I mean, it's wonderful policewomen and men working there. I had a good interaction with them, but the conditions and the public waiting to be attended to, it's just not conducive, and it doesn't give us a nice picture of what the police is all about. So that's Kleinvlei specifically. Elands Bay, when we were there, it was also, the holding cells and all of that. It takes a long time to repair and to fix those things. So I know the presentation dealt with a lot, but specifically we are concerned the image of the police going out, and then the public comes to the police station. They must wait outside. The long queues. And, there's no area, if I say Kleinvlei and those places, no area for the community even to sit in dignity while being attended to. So what is the police doing? I know now about the money that's available, but surely, we need to work hard to change the image of the police. And I like I said, it was wonderful policewomen and men working there, hard for the community, but the conditions are unacceptable. So, Chair, I just want to mention that. The other thing is, and I know they did not prepare and did not receive the notice of the kidnapping and, the abductions. But I'm glad to see that there is weekly meetings with these kidnappings. It's just the money for jam, people kidnap and it's ransom and all of that. And I just wanted to know, and not going into details, with these kidnappings, how many people were caught and convicted, so that a strong message can go out to say, enough is enough. I just want to know the conviction rate of those those who were kidnapped in the past. Is there any arrest, and are there people that is at the moment in prison because strong message is going to go out because it's easy money? Thank you, Chair, for now.
Thank you very much, Member Christians. Then I saw Member Fry, and then right after Member Kama.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's greatly appreciated. Excuse me. I've got 3 questions regarding the Kwanakatula police station. The lease is until 2028. So I'm assuming that the planning and construction, the planning will run concurrently, or are we building the place now till 2028? Because that's the 31st of March 2028 is the completion. So they'll just move directly over. I'm just making sure. And then the lease is by who? Who are we leasing to? And why is the lessor, or the person who's leasing, not filling those holes? Because those holes in the floor, I saw it for myself. They are that prefabricated room is not fit for human occupation. It's not fit, and we can't wait for funds to come in before the place the prefabricated room is renovated. The second question I have is regarding disabilities and care with disabilities. Thank you for the information, but how many outstanding police stations are there with regards to catering for people with disabilities? I know that the Plettenberg Bay police station is not catered for disabilities. I know that's one for sure, because we were there and I saw it with my own eyes. Over and above what is problematic with that Plettenberg Bay police station. And then I see that the capital projects, under the capital projects that are to be done, a lot of the police stations are set for burglar proofing. Now I just want to know, is that new, or is that upgrading of burglar bars and burglar proofing equipment? That's all my questions for now, Chair. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and let me also welcome the presentation. And I think most of my questions would have been the questions that I had before the meeting are answered through the presentation. The only frustration, Chair, I think also even adding to what you had said as your opening remarks, is coming from KwaNokuthula police station and sitting here and now thinking that that is going to be the situation up until 2028. I think that's the frustration that I have. I understand the processes that would have to be followed. Because General, there when we're there through you, Chair, is that between KwaNokuthula, if I'm correct, Chair, if my memory serves me well, KwaNokuthula currently, between KwaNokuthula, the police station in Platin Town and your Neisner, currently they have only 6 cells.
2 working ones.
No, it's 2 in Platt and 2, I think they were calculating like that, if you include with Neisner as well. Currently, that whole area, they only have 6 cells, and their greatest challenge is that they can go do their work, but they would not have any place to detain people. And the concern for us is that now that directly affects service delivery. When we were in KwaNokuthula, we were even told that they have to stop some tracing and arrest operation, because even if they continue, they are not going to be able to detain the people that they will find. So that's the frustration that one would really want to hear what SAPS has to say about that. The other question that I have, on page 6, for interest's sake, I see that on your victim-friendly facilities, there is no project that is earmarked for these 5 financial years that are here. Does this mean now that every police station in the Western Cape has a victim-friendly room? It would be very great to hear that. The other question that I have, Chair, I just want to understand, and I even hear now the frustration of the provincial minister, is what mechanisms do we have to check the implementation of these projects by Public Works? Because in that page 13, you see there that for the first one, which was in Bellville, you have an age analysis there of about 10 to 15 years. It was registered in 2011 already, but it has not been completed. So what mechanism is there to monitor and ensure that these projects are implemented? My second last question, Chair, I think it's the last one for now. I just want, I think it's a clarity-seeking question, because when I read page 7, 10, and 27, I get a confusion around the Elandsby police station. Page 7, it gives us that it's in terms of your site clearance, it's earmarked for 24-25, year 24-25, and then I assume it goes to the next stage, which is planning and design, which is your 25 and 26. The project, you think you'll finish it in 2027 by 2028, but there is a page where, I don't know where is the page now, Chair, where it's earmarked in 2024 for security upgrades. I wanted to check what upgrades are those, because when I got to that place, I think Provincial Minister, you were still the chair at that time, when we went to Elandsby, in Elandsby, and exactly as the report says, we saw it's just park homes, and now I want to understand why would you do security, prioritize security upgrades at that station to be earlier than the construction of a station that you are still going to do at that station. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Member Kama. That's on page 10. I'm going to, as a good moderator, ask for a response to those questions, and then we will see whether we can go into a round 2. But actually, yeah, no, nobody asked any questions to the Minister. and it's his first visit here, so I'm going to actually break my rule and then ask a question to the Minister. Minister, can we get an answer as to whether the provincial government has received the request for the parcel of land for the Kleinvlei police station, and where in the bureaucracy of government is that request? But I'll hand over to our colleagues from the South African Police Service.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I do take note of the questions around Kleinvlei. I do understand the honorable members, the plight that our members are working under there, the issues around office space and also for the community. While we are still busy with the construction and getting land and constructing the police station, as the honorable members have indicated the problems there, I will direct my colleague, General Fani, to see if we can, in the process in between, because the police station will not end up being built on that old site, maybe get another one or two better new preverbs while we are waiting for the process, just to elevate the space, office space, and including also waiting area for the community there. So it can be possible to get on better new preverbs just to elevate the problems while we are waiting for the construction of the police station. And then with regard to Gwanokutula, which is on lease, it belongs to somebody. So there we just have to go back and get the owner to repair what is supposed to be doing in terms of maintenance of that specific police station. I'll ask my colleagues, General Stoll and Fani, just to give the rest of the answers. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe starting from the second one in terms of the owner of the building. The challenge that we have, like the initial commissioner has mentioned initially, that police stations that are leased from municipalities, because of the rate, we are not paying the market rate. At the conclusion of the agreement, that was the available. Some of them are as old, taken in 2008, long 1999, old leases that were concluded. And you find that because of the rate that we're paying, the municipalities are not prepared to spend their money to maintain those police stations. And thus you find that the condition of the buildings, they deteriorate. But as the National Commission has indicated, we will prioritize the replacement of those park homes that are too old in the yard. We'll just coordinate with the province to see what is it that can be done urgently to assist the process. The access to policing services by the disabled persons. In terms of the devolved police stations in Western Cape, the ones that need to be done by the SAPS were all done. I just want the province maybe just to help me with the Plettenberg. I think it's a non-devolved. Yeah, it's a non-devolved. Yeah. So we'll just have to maybe to coordinate and check in terms of the number of the non-devolved in the Western Cape that are not compliant yet. The security upgrade where Batla Pass are projects are included or are executed. It's new Batla Pass on the current police station, because in terms of previously the issue of the Batla Pass and all those things were not prioritized, but in line with the national safety strategy, the National Commission has directed that all police stations should comply with the security requirements in order to improve on the security of the police members working at those police stations. The non-availability of the cells at police stations. We have, in terms of our infrastructure security plan, prioritize the construction of cells. We starting in Limpopo with one, Hopong, which we've already prioritized. The assessment of stations where cells are available but are not in a condition and they've been closed down because of the condition. Also, in line with the infrastructure development plan, we have already prioritized. There are members at this moment that engineers and architects that are going to police stations to evaluate the condition, and on the basis of the fact that the impact of a closed cell facility in terms of the traveling of the members to the nearest police station to go in and detain the arrested person creates an inconvenience, and therefore there's the reason why the opening of the cells that have been closed has been prioritized also. In terms of the VFFs, just to confirm that all the police stations in Western Cape does comply with the requirement in terms of the VFF placement of police stations. The nationally, we had 138 or 139, just to confirm there, that did not have VFFs, but none of them are in the Western Cape. So Western Cape has been covered fully with regard to the VFFs. Okay, Ellers Bay, the reason why it's prioritized for security upgrade is just to ensure that the current police station is secured while we are constructing, because the security upgrades is just a small project, sometimes less than 1 million, just to ensure that the security requirements are in place while the construction of the police station will then be continued. And just to mention that all the 4 police stations, luckily or fortunately, the site clearances are already in progress, and like indicated, we will have the contractors appointed, and police stations should be 24, 25, 26, 2 years, and then 27, 28. The police station should be within the 2 years be completed. Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks. If you can respond on convictions on kidnappings.
Thank you, Chair. With regards to the number of arrests and convictions, I can say with certainty that there's a large number of people that are in custody for kidnapping and extortion. However, like Initial Commissioner respectively indicated earlier on that we did not come prepared for those questions, so it is difficult to give the number, but I am certain there is a large number. There's also a large number of cases that are also running at court. Thank you, Initial Commissioner. Chair.
Through you, Honorable Chair, General Fani.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. A question was asked with regards to long queues and the image of the South African police services at the stations. Honorable Chair, one of the things that we're looking at from a strategic point of view is the designs of the police stations, where we are seeking to ensure that the design ensures that the operations of the station runs as smooth as it possibly can. For an example, where a member of public just came in for certification of documentation, how are we going to be able to segregate that so that there is a smooth flow and a proper identification of the needs of the members of public and segregating them into rooms and areas where they can get specific services. That engagement has been entered into with Public Works and the infrastructure unit in the presidency to look at the model power police stations, that designs that we could use for types of police stations, specifically to look at the operations and ensuring that there's a smooth management of a police station. Where construction contracts have been concluded, they would run with the designs that are concluded at the time. But in the future, we would then roll out the new designs that we would have concluded. We're hoping that that would run smooth and we would conclude it in the shortest time possible. In terms of ensuring that Public Works implements the project that we have earmarked, I must indicate or maybe make a submission that we have improved our communication and engagements with Public Works. In the last 2 months, we have had quite progressive meetings, including regular feedback to our principals with regards to movement of projects. We are also looking into how we can identify the police stations that may be devolved so that South African police services may effect the repair and maintenance that are required. One of the other things that we've also looked at is we've looked at the threshold for the provincial commissioners with regards to financial authority so that we can capacitate them for repair and maintenance of the devolved stations, and we are hoping that we would get authority also for that threshold to be applicable to the non-devolved police stations. If I may indicate, the previous authority was 100,000, and we have improved that authority to 1 million, which would be sufficient enough to effect repair and maintenance on leased properties and the non-devolved properties in the police station. So these engagements are ongoing, and we are hoping that we would yield the results that we require, particularly for repair and maintenance. And we have also looked into how the South African Police Services infrastructure portfolio, as well as the Public Works and the infrastructure unit under Dr. Ramokgopa at the presidency, can work together to unblock some of the challenges that we've got in that space. As indicated, we are hoping to make inroads. The progress is not as fast as we would want it to, but at least we're trying to do as much as we possibly can with the involvement of executive in that space. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. I must say that there is a new Director General at the Department of Public Works, well, not appointed, but acting. We have, since his appointment, we have interacted quite regular, so much so that the officials, my officials and his, they meet almost twice a month, and myself and him also meet. The last meeting we had was the past Saturday with the Portfolio Committee on Public Works. So there is a improvement. I can't promise you, but that is going to yield results. But there is prospects and there is hope that the cooperation is much, much more better. And there was also a meeting some time ago of the principals, the Minister of Police and Minister of Public Works, with a view to unlock these problems that we are having. So we hope this relationship will improve service delivery for the betterment of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I think you need to pass on your relationship with the Director General of Public Works to the Minister of Community Safety and Policing, since Public Works is not responding to his letters. So I'll hand over to you, Minister.
Like Chairperson, like the National Minister, like the National Commissioner, I'm also very hopeful. The Public Works Minister is a resident of this beautiful province, and I trust that she has not forsaken the residents here in our province. But Chairperson, I've already followed up via the South African Police Service and to the Department of Infrastructure here in the Western Cape with regard to the request, and we will then duly provide an update to the committee in writing.
Thank you very much. I have some questions as well, and I just wanted to check if I heard correctly. So the rental in the police stations owned by municipalities, is that 564 rand around about there per month or per year? And the expectation is that if I'm the asset owner and you pay me 564, I need to maintain the building. Okay. I understand why some of these municipalities are not maintaining, especially a municipality like the Bito municipality, who has no money for various reasons. It's been mismanaged for years. But I'm hopeful that the land that they've made available will be used as well, because one of the things that we were told, and Member Kama and Member Fry can correct me, is that they've been holding that land for quite a while, and they cannot hold it for much longer because there is an massive increase in land invasions in this province. So if you can break ground sooner rather than later, I think it would be useful. Until then, maybe put some solar panels on the land so long, because the KwaNotukula police station, I think, Commissioner, I'm going to invite you to Plettenberg Bay. It's a beautiful town. To come and have a look at that police station and the Plettenberg police station, because the charge office and the station commander's office is the only actual brick and mortar building. And the mobiles are broken. There's holes in the floors. There's just the general conditions. I remember one of the members, it was Member Bartman, who made a joke with the supply chain management official to say, where do you keep the petty cash? Because chances are if you put the petty cash on the floor, someone can just grab it from under the mobile. So I think that's something we need to see urgently, whether that municipality and SAPS and the provincial government can get together to see whether that police station can get some attention, because that police station services both the Kranjhoek area and the KwaNotukula area, which is two massive areas. And when you look at the stats at the police station and you look at the work that's being put in, it's impressive under those working conditions. So my first question would be, how are we evaluating this 564 Rand? And maybe your relationship with the Director General for Public Works needs to maybe discuss an increase in that rental so that there can be some obligation on the building owner. And then the second question is around the role of the districts in terms of monitoring the needs and processing the requests from police stations. How does that work? So do they, police stations directly request through to Public Works if it's a Public Works owned facility, or do they directly speak to their district and then that gets filtered down to filtered up to the Provincial Commissioner's office? And then in terms of the arrests made specifically around the issue of child murders in this province, and I understand that you don't have the sort of detailed statistics on hand, and we can always get that later. But in the case, for instance, of 4-year-old Tamir in Paarl, who was tragically killed, those two suspects that were arrested have now been released, and they've been released according to the intelligence that we're getting from the community and the court because of sloppy police work. And the community is now up in arms, and it puts the police officers at that station in a very difficult position. And members of this committee will know we visited the Paarl police station, where there were also serious issues that have still not been resolved around the functioning of that station and the incidents involving SAPS members in at that station. So how is sort of the arrests comparing to actual cases that we're building? Because in this province, from the work that we've experienced, the information that we've gathered at police stations, very few detectives have completed the basic detectives course or even the advanced detective course. So what is being done to build capacity there from a provincial level as well as from a national level? I understand that sort of that there's a task team, and I'm grateful that you're working with the City of Cape Town on the extortion part of it, and I'm hoping we can see some results. And hopefully the MEC's LEAP officers will also be able to be put to good use in that. But how does it actually lead to prosecutorial cases that the NPA can actually gather and take to court? Sort of how do those numbers compare? And if you don't have the specific numbers right now, we can always get it later as well. And then the other question I had was just a clarity. So the provincial commissioner is now hopefully going to be able to have delegated authority over expenditure up to R1 million for station upgrades. Is it only for station upgrade, or is that the sort of the total amount that the provincial commissioner can agree to spend per item or per request? I'm just trying to also just members, while I'm thinking if you could maybe just raise your hands online if you've got any other questions, and those members in the House, if you could indicate as well. So I see Member Fry. I don't see any hands online on Microsoft Teams. Perfect. I'll give it to Mr. Member Fry.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I find it unacceptable that we can't find the money to fix these holes. I'm sorry, but that place is not fit for human occupation, not at all. Something has to be done, and something has to be done quickly, because you don't want to be in the media because someone fell through a hole in a police station, or a snake came up and bit someone and killed that person because of the hole. And I'm sure this is not the only police station where this is happening. So I'm sorry, ma'am, but I do find it unacceptable that it has to be municipalities who doesn't have any money. We've got to find the money and fix it now, because I'm not even sure how long that hole has been there for. Or the holes, sorry, because there's a hole in the front and a hole on the side. And I echo member, the chairperson's remark about the petty cash. It was actually the finance controller, sir, that said about the petty cash. And the second thing that I wanted to ask is that I don't see any IT upgrades or IT facilities being upgraded here, because at the Kwanakotula police station, there were 2 people to the HR section had 1 computer for 2 people. So how is that going to be remedied? Because surely we can't have that. We have to supply our people with proper tools of trade. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that there's no other hands and say I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members. And I will indeed make time to go to Plettenberg Bay, and we'll talk thereafter when I come back. Honorable Chairperson, the communication with regard to between the district and the province, if they have to do any repair work, of course, they don't go directly to Public Works. They go via the province, and the province is the one that will engage the Department of Public Works. You spoke about the matter around the leased building. Yes, it is a problem. We are committed. We want it to be resolved. It's just unfortunate that the matters around the municipal buildings, negotiation starts at some point. If I can give an example about one police station in Gauteng, which is being leased. I think we are leasing it 5 cents a year, which is quite understandable that no municipality will invest money in such a police station. We are prepared to want to do it, but when it comes to concluding the lease agreement, that's where we get held up, because it takes quite a long time, because it's not between us and them, it's between Public Works and that municipality. That's why we say it's better they hand over these police stations, or they charge us market value, we buy whatever is there, and we can continue constructing. But we have a project between supply chain subs and Department of Public Works for all this municipal building countrywide, because it's not only here, it's quite countrywide, and some is worse than what you have seen in terms of how they look like. But we definitely are attending to that. The detective training, Honorable Chairperson, we were held up during the 2 years of COVID. None of the training we have undertaken, no training during that period, but however, immediately after that, we have prioritized the training of detectives, which is done some in the provinces, but also at our academy in Gauteng. We have prioritized that. Of course, we have backlog currently, and we are working on it. Let me ask General Fani to respond to some of the questions, and the Provincial Commissioner on the killing of the 4-year-old. Thanks, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The question was asked with regards to the threshold of 1 million. We've got a delegation of authority that gives different thresholds for different applications within the organization. This million specifically speaks to repair and maintenance of buildings for both devolved and non-devolved. The challenge that we had was that for non-devolved ones, the Public Works had given us 100,000 as the limit of work that we could do. So, but we have in the last 4 months have agreed on 1 million, so that should help us quite a lot. It definitely had an inverse impact on the type of repairs that could be done in these buildings. And it could be that one of the challenges we had with some of the buildings would be the amount of work that had to be done was not less than 100,000. So and that could see and some form of improvement with regards to the repairs and maintenance that we need to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairperson. With regard to the release of the suspect, I will request to follow up that I had not been informed that they were released. Thank you.
General,
thank you, Chair and honorable members. The question was asked as to why the IT facilities are not part of this presentation. Is because the presentation is only based on the infrastructure. But if there is a need or there is a request to talk to IT, we do have a plan at head office, which will indicate even the province, I believe they do have, but we didn't prepare for that because the directive was not pertaining to IT. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. The holes at Kwano Kutula, the provincial supply chain, they will go there and see whether what measures can we apply to repair those holes of a property that don't belong to us. If not, then maybe we'll engage then the owner and see if we can put a better infrastructure that is better than this one, because of there will be involvement of Public Works, but we can shorten it. If we put a temporary structure which belongs to us, it will be better that it's mobile. If we move, then we can be able to take it. So the provincial supply chain will go there and see how we deal with this issue of the floor that have got holes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, I'm just checking again with the members online, Member Plato and Member Christians. Do you have any other questions or any follow-up questions?
Chair, I'm covered. Member Christians, I'm covered. Thank you.
Chair, I'm covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. What we will now then do is we will move over to the presentation from the Minister for Community Safety and Police Oversight, and then we will go straight into questions and answers after that. And then if SAPS and the Minister and the members will indulge me, I was just asked by the parliamentary team from the Speaker's office if you'd be open to having a photograph taken when we conclude, and I'm hoping to conclude earlier than expected, if possible. And then also you're welcome to join us for a little refreshment before we send you off back to Pretoria. I'm hoping you're staying in Cape Town for the weekend and pumping some much needed money into the economy of the city. There's a lot happening this weekend.
Chair?
Yes.
May I interject?
Yes, Minister.
May I put it to you, to put to the committee, if we make this particular item stand over, considering the time constraints, Member Kama, Member Fry, those members that are online, we would always want to account and continue fostering the working relationship, considering the time constraints.
That's what I wanted to do as well, but I looked at Member Fry, and earlier when he said it's not acceptable, I thought he was going to say to me it's not acceptable as well, because we also will have an opportunity at our annual report to engage with the Minister there. And the nice thing is during the annual report, the Minister doesn't have a presentation to hide behind. It's just us and him. So members, I'm tabling the proposal that we have the Minister's presentation stand over. We then, I will then ask that members submit resolutions via email, and we collate those, and then we adopt them at our next meeting. And that we then pose for a photograph, and I think we'll probably do it in the chambers. And then we can then have an opportunity to also engage with the colleagues from the South African Police Service over a cup of coffee. Member Fry, your microphone is already on.
I just want to say that's acceptable. That's okay.
That's fine. Chairperson, Member Christians, fine.
Member Christians, it's fine. Thank you, Member Christians, especially since we're not including you in the photograph and the coffee.
Thank you very much, Chair. I also don't have a problem. It's just that I would have hoped that was in that presentation of the provincial minister. I see there's also a police station there with some, so I would have hoped that maybe we'll just make a remark about it, and since it's relevant to the discussion that we were having with SAPS. Thank you very much, Chair.
Minister, please do comment on you've been crisscrossing 36 police stations.
Thank you, Member Kama. I do want to state that in terms of our responsibility, and we have been very clear, we've been very clear with national government, we've been very clear in terms of our engagement with the SAPS here in the province, and especially when we consider the priorities that are identified, Chairperson, and that is signed off by the Provincial Commissioner, that is in consultation with the MEC, and based on one particular station that we have visited, we have had preliminary discussions around Dusselsdorp, where parts of the station has been sinking, and I firmly still maintain the view that the contractor in that particular incident should be held liable, and that I do believe that there is a process ongoing, and I will be able to brief the committee once I have further information with regard to Member Kama's question about a recently built station that appears to be sinking into the ground.
Is that Dusselsdorp or Düsseldorf? Because Düsseldorp's in Germany.
Germany one.
It's the Oudtshoorn one.
Yes, okay. It's the Oudtshoorn one.
You must just check that the police station is not sinking because of all the boreholes that have been drilled there, because that area has no water. So it could be linked to geology there as well. So I do hope, Minister, that when you go there, you're going with the geology hat on as well to look at it. Members, Ms. Member Kama, are you happy with that response? Perfect, Minister.
And just, Chairperson, just once again, I want to say thank you. So then as an agenda item, we will be able to then present the first few months in office. I think I would want to hear from Member Christians. I would want to hear from Member Kama and from all the members on this particular committee for further inputs on how we are able to not only consistently work together, but foster the relationships. I want to also say from my side, thank you to the National Commissioner and the entire SAP senior management team that have taken the time to engage in this regard. We want to be extremely clear that we appreciate the work of this committee from our side, and we are fully committed to making sure that we do everything in our power.
Thank you, Minister. I see you haven't relinquished yourself of your chairperson's role because you just jumped ahead of me by doing closing remarks. But I'm always happy to learn from the professionals. Commissioner, are there any closing remarks that you would like to make before we close?
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. I think let me take this opportunity to thank the committee. It's our responsibility to account, and we will always be available to account to yourselves. And we are open for suggestions, and we are open for always willing to cooperate with all structures of government. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The other night at the public meeting in Kleinvlei, I actually made a promise to the community, and I forgot to mention it to you. I said I will invite the National Commissioner to Kleinvlei because they said we're tired of hearing from you politicians. And I said, okay, I will invite the Commissioner. So next time I write to Minister Cele, I will tell him, please bring the Commissioner with as well because they want to hear from the Commissioner. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us today. And thank you very much for entertaining our urgent request. I think we sometimes get so involved in the day-to-day stresses of community safety that we don't often take time to think about the amount of work that goes into not just keeping communities safe, but also preparing for these parliamentary meetings and the amount of resources that are allocated to putting information together, and especially with an organization as large as the South African Police Service, being able to collate that information in such a short space of time. We're very grateful for that. And we are always very grateful to engage with our colleagues from the Provincial Commissioner's Office, because when we engage them, we always get a response and we always get the details back. And that's something that we appreciate as a committee. We work quite collaboratively, and some of these issues are not once off for us. We work on them over a long term, so you can look forward to invitations to some police stations across the Western Cape. And I promise you it's not all doom and gloom. We have lots of fun with some of these station commanders as well. Members, with that, the meeting is thus adjourned. We will now just take the photograph, and the photograph will be taken.